Come with me to Tanzania. It's a beautiful place, but it's also one of the poorest countries in the world, with roughly 33% of the population living in poverty. That's 13 million people. Here, the people do whatever jobs they can to scrape together a living for themselves and for their families. In Tanzania, roughly a third of the population live on about 66 pence a day. Now, you might think that would buy you more here, but in fact, you could probably get a loaf of bread. And it's a cycle of poverty that is inherited generation after generation. As I walked around, the first thing I felt was old. Well, this might sound surprising, but it's because the average life expectancy in Tanzania is 52. And by chance, that is exactly my age. I've travelled to the centre of the country, to a rural district called Kololo. It's about as far from 21st century living as it's possible to find. I'm here to meet 38-year-old Amina. Amina. Amina told me that life here is difficult. 3 years ago, her brother and his wife died, leaving 3 young children, all under the age of 13. Amina has taken them on and is bringing them up. I have 3 kids myself, but there, frankly, our similarities end. Amina has no education, no support, and very few opportunities. Even getting the children to school properly clothed is a challenge. In Tanzania, school uniform is compulsory and it's expensive. Amina will struggle to afford another set as the children grow. And without a uniform, they won't be allowed to attend school. The reality of Amina's desperate situation really hit me when I was invited to see the small room she calls home. How many of you live here? 3. 3, wow. Must be tight. Space is so limited, one of the children has to live at a neighbour's next door. I'm very uncomfortable asking Amina about the difficulties that she's had in life because she is such a proud woman, you can feel it. But there's no doubt she has had and is having a really tough time. Amina's story is not unusual. Millions of women in Tanzania are in a similar position, desperately working to keep their families together. It's the custom here in Tanzania for women to be responsible for the family. They're the breadwinners, the cooks, the carers, the cleaners, and that's why the UK charity 5 Talents is working on a special project aimed exclusively at Tanzanian women. 5 Talents is what's known as a microfinance organisation. Now, that may sound rather complicated, but basically they provide small loans to people who want to start or expand businesses. Their project in Tanzania is based in the small town of Iringa. It's been going for 3 years, and in that time, it's transformed the lives of over 1,000 women. This is Fedelina. She's 51. 4 years ago, her husband died of heart disease, leaving her to bring up their 4 children alone. She told me that after the death of her husband, she was very lonely and felt unable to engage in daily life. But when a friend told her about 5 Talents, her life turned around. She borrowed just £25 and bought 100 chicks to launch her own poultry business. Things went well. The chicks grew and she was able to sell them locally and repay the loan. She was trusted to borrow more money and buy more chickens. Today, Fedelina has over 1,000 chickens and her poultry business is booming. And how has having the loans enriched your life? She told me that with the extra income, she's been able to buy a fridge freezer for her business and keep her 2 youngest children on at school. Her eldest is now at university. Basically, the loan system is very simple. You start off with a very small loan, it grows, you get a bigger loan, you end up with a much bigger business. Why, the Chancellor of the Exchequer couldn't have explained it more clearly. All the women required to attend regular repayment meetings, where they're expected to repay the loan in small amounts. Loans are typically settled within 4 to 6 months, and the current repayment record is an impressive 92%. What I think is so wonderful is that even though I haven't been able to have real communication with the women, because unfortunately I don't speak Swahili, you can feel the pride in the room that they have come back to repay their money and that they're doing this by themselves. As each loan is repaid, the money is loaned out again and again, helping more and more women to build thriving businesses. And that includes Amina. For her, joining 5 Talents has meant that she can launch her own basket weaving business. Amina, you just started a new business venture. Tell me about that. She told me that financial hardship and the need to bring up her brother's 3 children inspired her to learn to weave and make pots. Her plan is to sell her work at the local market. If all goes well, it will secure the future for the children and keep them in school. When I look out here, it looks so beautiful, but actually when you look up close, this is a very tough life that Amina is living. And you know what? She's doing something about it. She's starting her own business. And I have to tell you, I have met countless celebrated people in this life, but I don't think I've met anybody more admirable than Amina. By helping women to help themselves, 5 Talents is enabling the local economy to flourish. But it's still early days. And to ensure the continued success of the project, the women here need to learn to do it for themselves. I'm about to attend a business studies class, and it takes place right here.
Nitaisoma, tusikize kwa makini, kuna maswali tutaenda kwenye vikundi. Sawa?
Well, the lesson today is how you take a very small amount of capital, the initial loan, and make it work for you. And they're currently answering questions on how to do that best. All these women have got children, as you can see, to look after and businesses to run, but they take the time to come here and make themselves better entrepreneurs. These are the Alan Sugars of Tanzania. As the session drew to a close, I could feel a real sense of achievement amongst these intelligent, hard-working women. They're determined to make better lives for themselves, and 5 Talents supports them every step of the way. Sometimes when you travel, you receive a horrible reality check, and I've certainly had one on this trip. I was only in Tanzania for a week, but in that short time I became increasingly uncomfortable about the stark difference between the lives of the women I had met and my own. I think what these women are doing is remarkable, and what I think is that I couldn't do it. And I will go home to my nice, comfortable life. And what I hope is that I don't forget about these astonishing women and what they're trying to do. By offering people a hand up rather than a handout, 5 Talents are helping to tackle poverty in a very real and practical way. But they need your help in order to continue this special project here in Tanzania. Please donate by calling 0800 093 9394 or by going to the website bbc.co.uk/lifeline. If you'd like to send a donation, please make your cheque payable to 5 Talents and send it to 5 Talents, Free Post, BBC Lifeline Appeal. Remember, if you're a UK taxpayer, the charity can collect gift aid on your donation worth another 25%. Just send in a note to say you want your donation to be subject to gift aid and include your address. Thank you.